As part of efforts to ensure holistic support for rape survivors and other forms of sexual violence, and in commemoration of the ongoing 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Invictus Africa has released a survival guide as a practical guide for survival of rape and other forms of sexual violence. This took place on Wednesday in Abuja. Malik Iduro has the rest of the story as read from our studios.
In a bid to curb gender-based violence in the society, the Executive Director Invictus Africa, Buki Shonibari, explained that the Survivor's Guide is a no-fluff, realistic, hands-on guide created to support survivors of sexual and gender-based violence as they navigate the period after sexual violence.
We released Survivor's Guide because we deemed it necessary for people to know issues around sexual and gender-based violence. During these 16 days of activism, we realized that there is a knowledge gap in terms of even basic concepts like consent is still very contentious. People still don't understand what consent is. Some husbands still do not believe that their wives could be raped. Lies. There are so many lies and myths around sexual and gender-based violence that we believe that people should actually be aware of. The third part is actually know your rights as a victim or as a survivor. So what's your right? So there are rights of survivors that have been enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria.
While lending a voice, Country Director Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, noted that the government should address inequality affecting vulnerable and disadvantaged people, especially women and girls.
The government last year declared a state of emergency GBV. The purpose was in response of the spike in cases of gender-based violence that existed as a result of the lockdown. But since then, there has been a slowing down of their response. One of the things they promised us was that they were going to implement the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in all the states of the Federation. Crime of rape has certain elements. So the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act has updated the law. We inherited an ancient criminal code and penal code, and there are now modern practices in terms of the care for survivors.
Also speaking, the German Green Foundation, Sema Ede, said there is a need for gender equality in politics.
Platform also to ensure that there is gender democracy, there's gender equality, women understand the issues. That is not to say we need more women in political office, because we've come to realize that having female senators doesn't necessarily mean that they will represent us in Senate, but having women who truly understand the importance of women and gender equality and why sexual and gender-based violence is an issue. And so, like Osai said, access to justice and access to remedies is a serious problem. And so we don't have access to justice and access to remedies, maybe because we do not have people who understand the issues and how badly sexual violence affects us. So how do we do that? We need to educate people. We need to do our advocacy around even women in Senate, women in politics, women in leadership, on why it is important for them to protect people from sexual and gender-based violence. And
they believe that with this development, survivors will feel supported, and that the people who are in their lives also are provided with the language to truly support them and not further, knowingly or unknowingly, contribute. In a